All right, October 9th, 2018, live day trading. Every morning I come out, same rules, same game plan. Every time. Scan, survey, submit. I have my scanners running right now. They're scanning the stock market, looking for stocks that meet my initial criteria. Where we're looking for volume, we're looking for volatility. I'm not going to trade a stock with no volume. I'm not going to trade a stock with no volatility. So that's what I'm looking for right now. Okay, got one popping up, PYX. Scanning the market, and then I survey it, right? Every time stock pops up, I got to look at the chart. I got to survey it for possible buy points, possible sell points using technical analysis, looking for support, resistance, chart patterns, anything and everything that I can find. I want to attempt to place submit trade orders, so that way I can collect the data for these orders. Right now, my goal, my mission, what I'm working towards accomplishing is collecting data so I can understand the probabilities of every trade I take. I spent too long placing trades and not having any kind of understanding of what the having a problem speaking this morning, what the probabilistic edge of the trade would be. So right now, I have 3 stocks on my scanner. Pull these over. So a setup is only good if it's on the right stock, if it's on the right, time frame, the whole 9 yards. It's a confluence of a lot of different factors. I'm not just looking for one setup. Okay, we got a couple more. So the first 5 minutes, I'm just scanning. That's it. I'm not getting into trades. I used to trade the first 5 minutes. I'd get whipped out. It just wasn't working for me. I'm still working on possibly, finding out some stats for initial volume bars on gaps, understanding how I'm going to place those trades. This is a lot different than maybe a lot of other traders you see on YouTube. Like, a lot of guys are, this is the pattern I like. I like probabilistical, I keep saying that word, probabilistic reasons why to trade. And I don't see a lot of that. I just see this is the pattern I like. I get in, I get out. I like rules. I understand the way I'm going to trade is probably more difficult. It's probably going to be more homework, more time consuming than the guy who goes in there and wings it every day. But I'm looking long term. I'm looking 10 years down the road at what kind of strategies I'm going to develop, the probabilities that I'm going to understand. Keeping in mind that stuff changes throughout the years, but at least developing a system on gathering these statistics. I think of casinos, I think of insurance companies, I think of hedge funds, and they all of them use probabilities to make their money. They're not out there guessing. So right now, all the trading I'm doing is for one reason only, is to collect data. Interesting VWAP. It's in the first. It's not the 5-minute bar hasn't closed yet though. Okay, so let's go here. Right now I have 6 stocks on my scanner. So there's 6 stocks that have met my initial criteria for volume and volatility. $9.34 and 32 seconds. Waiting for this thing to close, this first. So PYX has the big volume. Wow, I'm actually liking this. Okay, that's letting me know the first 5 minutes are up. PYX, what kind of stop would I want on this? Ooh, the range is 377 so far. Geez, that is a big big range. I'd want to take no more than a 50-cent stop. The open is 49. So if I wanted to get into this stock, what's the high on this? The high is 40. I'd have to get in at 95. Okay, so I'm actually going to sell that order here. All right. So what I'm hoping is this comes back out, because I only want to take a 50-cent stop, just a tight stop, but I want to take that stop because the tighter the stop, the more likely it is to hit a 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1. I used to make my stops so wide that I could never get, a 2-to-1 on my trade. So I like this because this is at the VWAP. This might be a good area, but I could see how it could easily come up this way. And I don't want to get stopped out. So I could sell right here, but it's real easy to get stopped out, and I have no idea. If it shot up here real quick, see, now it might just be dropping. So I just might be out of luck. This one bar, it's almost $1, that one bar. So I'm gonna move on. But I like tight stops so I can have bigger profits. And that's really the idea is if your stops are too big. So this looks good too, this VWAP right here. We're gonna see what happens. But yeah, tight stops so you can have higher profit ratios. But that means you also have to be a lot more patient. If you're gonna have a tight stop, you really have to make sure price is coming to where you want it to, which means potentially less trades. But think about that. So you trade less, but you're having a higher profit to loss ratio. Or you can trade more and have a lower profit to loss. I mean, the trading less and higher profit to loss seems to me like the way to go. But it means I miss a lot of trades. I set entry orders that never get filled. But I like to keep my stops kind of tight. So I don't know what's going on here. After this closes, I may put a new entry down with the high above this, but I gotta wait for that 5 minute to close. So I'm gonna be keeping that. I'm gonna be watching that. This actually looks interesting to me right here. So if I got in at 25, actually I like that. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna sell KR, put it in. What's the high right there? I'm gonna do 25. Okay, so right here, I only want a 16-cent stop. So if I get in right there, I'd put it at 41, which is just over this. So let me go ahead and change this. So on the shares right here, the quantity, I'm putting 16. That really represents my stop. This is a paper trading account. I'm doing this to gather data. So we'll see if it hits. That 50 cents right here, that 50, says 50 shares, that's really 50. When I run this through my algorithms, it collects this data and it knows to convert that to my stop. Because I want my stop losses, what I'm actually thinking, what I'm actually placing, I want those stops to be entered into my data. Wow, look at that. It was a nice VWAP trade. It comes right down into the VWAP. But again, where would be the stop on this? I don't even know. Stop would be down here. 54, I mean, that's a 50-cent stop. Yeah, possibly. But on this particular stock, I can, the max I could take on that would be about 30 cents. So from here to here, I mean, that's half the day's range so far. I don't want my stop to be half the day's range. I want it to be less. We'll see if that comes back up to tag me in. Oh, this is ugly right here. It's just going, who knows what it's doing. This is interesting. This volume right here. Keep moving. Yeah, tight stops, tight stops. You get less, you get filled less. I mean, if you're just doing tight stops just to have tight stops, then you're going to get whipped out probably a lot more. That's what was happening to me. I was doing tight stops, so I was getting good. I can get 4 or 5 to 1, but sometimes my stops would be so tight that I would just have like a 15% accuracy, and it wasn't quite. So even if I get a 30% accuracy and get a 4 to 1, then that's profit. I'm happy with that. I don't need to be right 70% of the time if you have a tight stop. And not all the trading, strategies are going to require a tight stop. So there's going to be different strategies that require different stops. Right now, I'm trying to gather data on, how far in my favor these trades will go. And so I have to have some kind of consistency as far as where I'm placing my stops. So I just try to place some, tight stops. I mean, it's just part of the way I'm gathering data, gathering these trade ideas on tight stops. And then what I can do is I can actually reduce the stop size. Increase the stop size if I need to. When I'm running through my algorithms, I can create all sorts of different variables and scenarios to iterate through. Let's see here. Man, I don't know what's going on. So this is creating a range, right? So this was the top, this was the bottom. It'd be cool if it just kind of comes back up and then shoots back down. That's a lot of volume. That's 1.7 million shares. So there's a little base. Looks like it's going to break down below that. That's usually a sign that it's going to keep going. But if I would have got in here at the VWAP 58, I would have to have about $1 stop. $55. So that'd be 47.55, 46.55, 45. That would have been 2 to 1. I would have got 2 to 1 with that right there, with that VWAP trade. So let's see. That VWAP would have given me a 2 to 1, which would have been good. But I get greedy. I want more than 2 to 1. This VWAP trade, if I would have got in that VWAP, which is 54.15. Yeah, that's a 70 cent. Yeah, there was no 2 to 1 on that one. One thing I kind of realized, oh, look at this coming back up. See if this comes up and hits. I think this area might be kind of weak. Where would I set the stop? This is interesting. If you get in the VWAP 92 stop, that'd be a 25-cent stop, which does fit within the parameters of my trading strategy. Let's see, 92. Light volume come in. That was a pretty good volume push down. Actually, I like this. I'm going to move this. Okay, so let's go ahead and readjust this. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and cancel this order. I'm going to sell. So the VWAP, if it gets back up to 92, 25, Let's see, 92. I have a 25 cent. Okay, where are you going? I don't want down there. What's going on? 93, 25, 18. Yeah. So I saw volume coming in this bar. You see that volume pushed it down right here. It rejected, right? It went up and rejected down. So I think this would be a good place for a stop. So if this comes in and tags me in around the VWAP area, I'll set my stop just above here. Actually, yeah, because then my stop would be 18. Should be right. Actually, I'm going to move that up a little bit more to 95. That way my stop is just above this area at the 20 area. So this has already showed rejection. This has already been a level. So I think that would be a good entry right there if it comes back up. You kind of created a wedge pattern, but the wedge pattern, one second. The wedge pattern didn't have any real volume on the breakup. So I don't know, this may kind of meander a little bit, but I'd like to see it kind of come up again on light volume. And I think that would be a good entry right there. See, look at that VWAP. That one wouldn't have worked out. Came up, came down. Well, actually, it wouldn't have stopped me out though if I had my stop down here. This is interesting. Like, created this base down here. It was kind of wedging, descending wedge pattern. It broke on volume, but then it came right back up. But it's real weak. Like, who knows where it's going? This is like a real middle. So the range right now is here and here. This is right in the middle. Who knows which way it's going to go? Wow, there's this one bar right here, almost 1 million shares, 307. Jesus, that's a 45-cent range. That is a strong push down, though, almost 1 million shares. So what I want to do, because of this volume, because of that push, I think it's going to be really hard for price to get back up above this level. Let me look at this. So that's an initial push, right? So it kind of opened up, and look at that. Almost 1 million shares really pushed it hard down. So what's it going to take for it to get back up over this level? I think it's going to take a lot. So I want to actually, if it comes back up into this area, I'm definitely going to look to short it. So I'm going to plan that out now. So first question is, how far do I want my stop? Well, the stock has moved about $1.50. So, I don't, a 50-cent stop would be too big. That's a third. I don't usually like to take anything more than about a quarter. I think I could do a 40-cent stop. Oh, let's see what got tagged. What's going on here? Oh, okay. So let me go ahead and set my stop. So 95, I set a 50-cent stop, so that would be 45. Which, holy crap, it might have already, damn. I think it went quick, right? 48.95, so 49. That's my stop, 45 right there. I was not expecting it to pop up that high that fast. I might be getting lucky on this one. So I wanted to set a 50-cent stop. We'll see what happens. I mean, that thing went from 95 to 90. I mean, it shot up $1. Wow. Doesn't usually happen that fast. So this definitely might be a scenario in which I'm getting lucky. But I called that area. I thought that would be an area that would have a reaction, and sure enough, I mean, look, came up, shot back down. So there's definitely some reaction in this area. I called that way back over in this area. So I thought if it came back up, so what we're going to see what, oh, okay, tagged me out. All right. So got my 50 cent. That got kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting that to really happen. Good thing I got out too. Whew, man. All right. So PYXL. Let's see what else we got. One of the things I'm working on too is just trying to understand the probabilities of shorting a stock that's gapped up. That's something I'm really working on. How like, is there edge there? If stock's gapped up, maybe the best thing to do is go long. I got a lot of homework. I got another couple years with the homework to do at least, but I'm okay with that. Let's see here. I mean, the big thing with trading, I'm looking at it as a career. I don't need to have it all figured out in a day, a week, a month, a year. I mean, I've been doing this for a couple of years already. And the first couple of years, man, we're just taking courses, buying other people's crap. I was trying to take a shortcut, really. And that's kind of the ironic thing about it, is because I'm a hardworking guy, so I don't mind putting in the work. And I didn't even realize that really I was just trying to take a shortcut, right? Because I was trying to learn someone else's strategy. I was trying to hey, maybe they'll just tell me what they're doing and then I'll make money. And didn't even understand that I was trying to shortcut the process. Instead of just going, hey, this is going to take you a few years, dig in, picture it like going to medical school or law school. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of time. And it's a career choice. And there's no shortcuts. And, thinking I could buy someone's course online and they would teach me their strategy and then I would start making money. I mean, that's a shortcut. Total shortcut. Imagine going to, if you want to be a writer. So you took a course, they're going to teach you the fundamentals maybe of writing and stuff, but they're not going to write the book for you. They're not going to write your story for you. You have to do that. And a lot of these internet guys, they want to write, here's my story, here's my trading strategy, here, you can just have it and you can make money off of it. It doesn't work like that. And I worked in the music industry for years. Nobody's writing songs, writing something, a profitable product, we'll put it that way. So a song would be a profitable product. Nobody would write a song and just give it away. I mean, that's not the way the industry works. That's not the way trading works either. Nobody comes up with a profitable product, which would be a trading strategy, right? A trading strategy would be a profitable product. And then, hey, I'm going to give it to people. I'm going to sell it to you. If they're selling it to you, it's probably, the only reason they're selling it to you is because they can make more money off of selling it than they can off of the actual product itself. If someone sells the rights to a song, it's because they think they're going to make more money selling that song than keeping that song to themselves, because they're not going to be able to publish it or put it out. Same thing with these trading educators. They know their strategies are kind of whatever, but they can sell their strategies and make fucking millions. Some of these guys are making millions. So, but I'm looking at this as a career. I don't care about shortcuts. I don't care. I'm looking 10 years down the road. Where am I going to be at on my quest to be the best? I mean, that's it. Do this every morning. I'm not making any money yet. That's an interesting. The spread is so wide on this though. The VWAP trade. So this opening range, I'm trying to, this is one of the things I'm working on. I got a whole list of probabilities that I'm trying to understand, where I'm right now I'm building some algorithms, because I have a bunch of data that I've been collecting over the last several months, stock data, because every time I trade these stocks, I collect the data on them, right? So at the end of the day, I get all the minute data. I just get all the data, and so I have, folders and folders and folders full of every day of trading, every stock that hits my scanner, all the data. And then I'm building algorithms so I can actually run that data and understand, so basically, let me see here. So basically I'm going to take, so over the last 6 months, I can look at every time the stock gapped up and then had 1 million plus shares pushing to the downside right here. I can look up this exact scenario over the last 6 months every time this has happened. And then I can see what are the probabilities, like what happens once it hits that high. Does it keep going? Does it come down? And I can really start understanding the probabilities of what does the stock do. So you look at a very specific scenario like this. This is very specific, right? You can spot this. Stock opens up, hits a ton of volume, pushes down. That first 1 minute bar. Is that any kind of indicator of anything else? Can this have predictive value of where the stock's going to go? You know what I mean? So what I've noticed, but I haven't run the stats, are a lot of times when I see this, it'll come back up, retest it, and push back down again. So I see that a lot. But how often does that do that? Does that do that 50% of the time, 60% of the time, 30% of the time? So these are all the stats. Like, these are all the probabilities I want to have figured out. These are that's the stuff nobody teaches you. Nobody teaches you how to get these probabilities. Nobody teaches you how to do this stuff. They just expect to teach you a strategy and just, hey, just trust me. I've got this bull flag, I've got this momentum play, I've got this gap and go, I've got this, I've got that. This is my strategy. Trust me that it works for me. Trust me that I've got it figured out. Trust me that I've put in the time, and you just buy my course and you do it. Fuck that, man. I mean, I gotta figure this stuff out for myself. I'm tired of paying people thousands of dollars for stuff that doesn't work. Just imagine if you understood that probability. Imagine if you looked at a chart and you could just say, you see a candle like this, right? So 5 minute candle comes in over a million, almost 2 million shares of volume, right? So I can run my analysis and look at every single time this kind of candle happened. And imagine if you just knew, hey, when this kind of candle happens, it has a 60% chance of making the same range. So if this was a dollar range, it has a chance of it making another dollar down. You know what I mean? You can just run the stats of how far it goes from this point. Or if it comes up to 50% of this candle, it's got a 70% chance of coming back down to low of day, or whatever the stats are, right? But imagine if you just had that and you knew what those stats were. That's what I'm looking to do. I don't think that's going to come back and hit me. Ooh, this is actually getting interesting. Hitting up to this area. Still a lot of volume right here. The high is 81. Okay, I think I'd like to wait. This is actually looking like it might set up here. These volumes to the downside are definitely stronger than to the upside. This high, 81. So I can take about 20 cents on this. 81 to 91. Now this is looking very interesting. What's this 9 EMA? 45.92 right there. All right, I want to see what this is going to do, because if this comes up, this might be a good place to short. What stock is that? IP? I'll just put check right there so that way I know to kind of come back to it. Got to wait a couple more minutes, see what happens. It might just start dropping already. Let me truncate this real quick. It definitely had a bigger volume coming into that. See what else we have. So that's the other thing I'm calculating, you know, and I'm taking the stats on, are my stops too tight? I like taking tight stops, but are they too tight? You know, am I wanting for too much, and that's why I'm getting missed out on trades? The thing is, you just have to be consistent. And that's, you have to be consistent for a while. You know, you can't just do things for a couple of days and just see how it works. So this whole thing of having tight stops, you know, I need to do this for, you know, just quite a while. I haven't determined how much time, but, you know, look, 100 trades or something like that, maybe more. And then I can look back and go, hey, look at all these trades I missed because I wanted my stops to be too tight. The problem is we get impatient, right? We like to figure things out now. I'll set my stops really tight, and if it doesn't work out, I'm taking some notes. If it doesn't work out after a couple days or a week, I want to change up what I'm doing. Well, that didn't work. Let me change it. And really, you haven't gathered enough data to make an informed decision. Anything can happen on any one trade. Anything can happen in a day. Anything can happen in a week. But you're looking over, you know, the law of large numbers. Basically, you know, any one thing is random. Even if you have, let's say, a coin. Let's say it's 70% likely to land on heads. But any one, you know, so if you flip it once and it lands on tails, you flip it again and lands on tails, like it's any one, you know, if you were only going to make 3 bets, who knows? Who knows how it's going to work out? Three, even if it's 70% likely to land on heads, still, it can land on tails 3 times in a row. There's no doubt about that. But you're looking at, you know, over 1,000 flips, over 10,000 flips. And that's why each trade, I don't really worry about, you know, what happened in this trade, what happened in 5 trades. And because really anything can happen. the idea is what happens after 1,000 trades. What does this strategy look like? So I might have missed that. Doesn't look like it's going to come back up. This is actually interesting. So we have this inside bar right here at a level. So I'm actually thinking, what's the range on that bar? Is 20. What's the height of this bar? 72. High is 72. 60. I can take 20 shares. So let's see, 60 would be 80. I'm going to sell this. Where's the high of this one right here? 72. Where was the high of this one right here? 80. So I'm going to sell this at 70. That would stop me out at 90. Let me see, where's the high day? So I just want to watch it. Not 100% convinced. Yeah, because you know what? That's really in the middle of this range. I don't like typically to trade. I like it to get up here more before I sell. Unless it gives me a strong reason, which it hasn't. Just scanning through. I'm going to go ahead and close this order. It's not going to get filled. Would have been nice if it would have come up. So high was 88. So I missed it by 7 cents. I mean, actually, I think I called it after this was already formed. I was hoping it would come back up, but it didn't. But it was definitely, let me see if it would have been 95 to 45. Yeah, it would just barely gave me 2 to 1. So let's go ahead and close that trade out. All right, see, I'm kind of liking this right here. 70, just over that. 72. So I'm going to call this at 20 shares. Okay. So I went ahead and just took a market order there. There's my stop. 40 would be down to 30. Cool. So what I liked about this was this volume that came in right here. Definitely stronger volume, kind of pushing it down. We've already had areas of rejection at this level. So that's a repeatable trade. You know, it comes up into a level and it hits volume and it's not able to go anywhere. And there were other times it came up to that area where it rejected. So last time it came up to this area, it hit volume and it rejected. This time it's kind of creeping up. I wasn't really sure, but then I saw this volume. It's not able to go anywhere. So then I'm thinking it may push back down. The overall trend is down. So We'll see what happens. This is why I like doing these live videos too, because I'd find like if I was looking at this chart after the chart, after the fact, I might have not journaled correctly all my thought process. So what's my thought process? Let me just clarify it to myself more than anything one more time. Had this initial push down with volume. Okay, almost 500,000 shares, 400 and something thousand, comes down. Comes up with lighter volume, kind of gets stuck here with volume, and then you have this more volume on the 1 minute, and it's just not really able to make any higher highs. Last time it struggled in this area, it pushed down, came back up. This bar right here, that's weird because this is green. Oh, that's because it closed higher. But anyways, came up into this area. You had this inside bar and kind of pushed down. So it's trending up right here. This was a level of resistance, right? So if it was really going to break, it could have broke that and really went if there were going to be a lot of buyers. So some buyers were sitting here. This is what happened. Some buyers were sitting here. Let me just take a couple notes. Okay. So people were waiting to see, hey, is this going to break this previous high, right? I can almost guarantee that's what happened. If it breaks that high, I'm going to buy. And that's why when it kind of crept up, this broke, so the high of this is 75. The high of this is 72. So people were thinking, hey, it broke. I'm going to buy some shares. But then what happened was, where'd all the other buyers go? Nobody else stepped in to buy. So, but the other thing we have is like there's no sellers that really seem like they're stepping in to sell. So the sellers might just be waiting to see what the buyers do. Nobody's really sure. I tend to be looking down right now only because the stock's already dropped. It's already coming into this 9 EMA, which can be a form of resistance. So I just don't know who would be buying this stock right now. I don't know like who would be excited to buy this. I think there'd be more excitement to sell it. So this might not even be active buy orders. This may be passive buy. So what's a passive buy order? Well, that's somebody who sold the stock and they're just buying it back. An active buy order is someone who's looking at this stock fresh, right? They're not in the stock yet and they're looking at, yeah, I want to get in. I want to get into this stock. And that's something to note too. Passive buying versus active buying. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to sit here and watch it. I hate watching a stock after I'm in it. Distracts me from other things, other potential setups. It's a pretty strong. This, I don't know, shorting stocks that have gapped up and run up, I always just seem to get my ass kicked. I'm still working on that. I used to always, because I'm a contrarian, I think, by nature, just, I don't know. My first tattoo was an anarchy tattoo, right? It's just when I was 18. It was just kind of my personality, I guess. But don't really like, so when I see something come up, I just kind of want to go against it. But I was just getting annihilated. I'd see something like this and I'd short it and I just would get wiped out. So, but that's another probability I want to look at, right? So if you have this initial thing pushing down, it shows they're sellers, right? It shows that they're sellers. So then when it comes back up and makes a candle like this, with a little bit of increased volume, do these two things combined, variable A, variable B, when those two variables are together, does that give you a different probabilistic reality than if it was just this by itself or just this by itself? So those are all things I need to look into. Learning trading is like learning a new language, man. There's a lot to it, in my opinion. This is interesting. Look at that volume right there. Oh, but these are really light. I'm not a big fan on this pizza, Papa John's. Well, the pizza itself, I haven't had Papa John's in a while. I'm just talking about the fact that there's not a lot being traded right here. I really want to focus on stocks where I can take some size. So like even this type of stock, if you look at this, right? So 47,000 shares, 28,000 shares, 18,000 shares. I mean, there's well over 100 plus thousand shares, all within this like little 5-6 cent range. That's what I love about the big boy stocks, you know, because you can accumulate position size, and if it moves, man, you can like make some real money. All right, I've got my 1-to-1. It's already hit. So if I was just going for a 1-to-1, I would have made some money. I'm really, let's see. I'm really trying to figure out scaling in and out of trades. Just from what I've learned, it's like there's more money in just holding it till the end. It's just what I've seen. Scaling starts reducing your profit factor. But you know, I think it increases your accuracy, right? You're not going to be wrong a lot. I don't mind being wrong. That's the thing. I don't really care. I can be wrong. I'll be wrong 90% of the time. But if that 10% of the time, you know, I have huge gains, I'm cool with that. That doesn't really fit, you know, a lot of the YouTube guys, right? Because they want to post how much money they made every day. Oh, look, that, you know, I don't give a shit about that, right? I'm posting these videos for, I mean, really kind of for selfish reasons, for my own sake, so I can look back and understand why I got into trades, why I got out of trades, what my thought process was. This is interesting. And I post them live, you know, just in case anybody, if it helps anybody else, somebody wants to hit me up and maybe we can collaborate, you know, then that might be cool. I worked in the music industry. I had hundreds, literally hundreds over a decade. Well, I was in the music industry 18 years, but the decade I ran my recording studio, I mean, I just knew a ton of people. So there was such a sense of community in everything we did, going to shows together, hanging out in Hollywood, whatever it was. Get into trading, like, God, there's nobody. I don't know anybody who trades. It's making me a little bit nervous. That volume's coming in. It's a volume tell right here. I still think it might be kind of weak though. All right, well, it's almost 10:30. I don't typically take any trades past. Ooh, look at this though. This is interesting. 89. So I can take a 30 cent on that one. Let me share 140,000 shares hit up in that rejection area. Actually, I like 90. And if it goes up into 80, 12 would have to be 30 cents. So if I got in around 87, just not enough there for a profit. All right, well, I'm not really seeing much else happening. So who knows how long this trade will take to wind out. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it, and then we'll check back in tomorrow during trading and we'll see what happened with this IP trade.